it looks like Tim Steidten's not going to Liverpool. I'd say it was confirmed, but no one's ever going to come out and confirm that sort of thing. But we can read between the lines. Yesterday, they appointed somebody into the role of basically sporting director, technical director, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to read that statement now, and then we're going to look at what it means for Tim Steidten, because I do think this is really, really good news for West Ham. Basically, the article goes on to say that Fenway Sports Group, who obviously own Liverpool, have appointed ex-sporting director Michael Edwards as the company's chief executive of football. There's loads of different names for this stuff, isn't there? There really are. Sporting director, technical director, footballing director. This is a new one on me, actually, chief executive of football. But I think what they wanted to do was not only make him feel more important, but give him a more important role. You'll hear that in this statement. But what it means is, even if Steidten did go to Liverpool, it'd sort of be as a scout or, you know, whatever, I don't know, advisor to recruitment. They'd probably make up another title, but he would be going there in a lesser role than he currently has at West Ham. They made a statement. They said Michael, meaning Michael Edwards, obviously is one of the most formidable executive talents in world football. He returns to us in a role with greater seniority than he held previously and with a wider remit. It was clear we initially reached out to him that a broader scope would be key to a motivating factor. So basically, I think they reached out to him and he turned around and said, "Look, I want more power. If I'm going to come back to Liverpool, I want more power." It goes on to say, "We will take over responsibilities I've previously held regarding the oversight management of Liverpool's football operation." Basically, he's going to be in charge of hiring Liverpool's new manager. This is the boss. This is the new football boss. When Klopp leaves, he will appoint his successor. Now, this is a role that obviously Tim Steidten wants. Tim Steidten wants more power at West Ham. So now is the key pivotal moment for West Ham and for Steidten. Basically, can we match Steidten's ambition? Because I think it's quite clear from reading the statement, and there was more of that statement to Liverpool, that it was a case of them matching his ambition and giving him the role that he wanted. There's no doubt about it. Steidten's role at West Ham has been sort of watered down a little bit. Yes, he is a director of football, but he doesn't quite get to direct everything. And the last transfer window is a case in point, really, isn't it? The last transfer window, what happened was there was a load of players that were suggested, and as it turned out, we only got one, and that was one that David Moyes wanted, which was Calvin Phillips. Look, we've been over time and time again whether we think that was a good signing or a bad signing. I'm sure you can all make your own minds up on that. What is clear is that it was the manager, the football manager, who got his choice to come in, and Steidten didn't get to bring any players in. And well, for twofold. First of all, I don't want to spend all video sort of criticising Moyes again. I did that quite well yesterday, I think. But I think the thing that probably puzzles me more than anything else, and I said this on a Patreon video, was that I feel as much as our squad needs an overhaul, we're only a couple of players off being a very, very good team. Had we brought a left winger in and basically move Paqueta inside to play as a sort of not even attacking midfielder, you can play him number 8 if you wanted, but a creative midfield, we don't have any creativity. If you'd have done that and brought a striker in, I think I would have been very confident of us finishing above Newcastle, above Chelsea, above Brighton. I think it would have been enough. So it's a bit weird that we didn't really have the ambition to do that. I don't know whose decision ultimately that was, but I think it almost would have guaranteed European football. We didn't do that. So I think whilst this season we're only a couple of players off being really, we're a half-decent team. We really are. But I think we could have been a sort of a formidable team, basically. And we decided not to do it for whatever reason. Maybe, just maybe, it was because, we wanted to spend that money in the summer. But if that's the case, I understand it. But it's really important that Tim Steidten is the guy that does it. Irrespective of whether you think Tim Steidten's a good or a bad director of football, or even if you just don't know, I think the moment you appoint him, you have got to allow him really to attempt to do the job, to be able to certainly be able to be a director of football rather than a sort of diluted version of it. I think this is really important. There's a massive overhaul needed in the summer. It really is. I was looking at our centre-backs yesterday, and when I was doing the preview with Gio, it was a case of, well, our best centre-back is probably our newest centre-back in Mavropanos, and that's somebody who is prone to a mistake. There's no doubt about it. And when you start to look at the others, Kurt Zouma, look, we've said it on numerous occasions, Kurt Zouma is is broken. Kurt Zouma is slow. He's even slow at passing the ball out from the back. It takes him a long time to make the pass. It's easy to press. He's easy to close down. Knife for Gerd. Well, I mean, he may want to leave anyway. It certainly appears to be the case. He appears to have changed his agent in a bid to facilitate his exit from the club. And then you've got Angelo Ogbonna. I don't think we've fully recovered from the departure of Dawson, quite frankly. And I think you could possibly make the case that West Ham might not just need to buy one centre-back in the summer, we might need to buy 2 or 3. That's how serious it is. That's before you've got onto the other positions, of course. I think the point I'm trying to make is we do need a really, really big overhaul. And it could be as many as 7 players coming in. Now, you could possibly say not as many of that, but here's what would have to happen. I think Soufal has to sign a new deal. Maybe Johnson doesn't leave. Maybe Mubama signs up, or maybe a couple of players get promoted from the youth setup. If that happens, maybe we won't have to make these mass signings. But without them, as I say, 2, 3 centre-backs? Certainly a central midfielder. We're not going to make Phillips's transfer permanent. I think that's quite clear that we won't do that. A winger, yes, we need a winger. Striker, we've been waiting for a striker for quite some time. And then, of course, we're going to need... Cresswell will leave, so we'll need a backup left-back. And that's without anybody leaving. That's without anyone signing Paquetá or anything like that. It sounds sensationalistic. West Ham needs 7 players. I think when you look at it, you scratch below the surface, I don't think it's really an unreasonable suggestion, really. And I think it's quite conservative, actually. So what we got a situation now where we've got a director of football. We're probably quite safe in the knowledge that we're going to keep him. He's appointed one of his mates from Germany. He's appointed his brother. A lot of feedback, as I said yesterday in yesterday's video. I didn't want to put too much emphasis on David Moyes' son being a scout for 2 reasons. Number one, as I said yesterday, I thought it might be fake news or old news. Looks like it is quite old news, actually. And also, even that us having a scout on the books is not going to stop us changing manager. So we got this situation where I think Steidten's insulated himself with by building this sort of transfer setup, if you want. He's got to be allowed to use it. I mean, honestly, we bought the Ferrari. The keys are in it. We've got to be allowed to switch the thing on. We really, really do. And let's see where we can go. Let's see what we can do. And I feel now we haven't got to worry about this side issue, possibly even in 2 aspects from Liverpool. With the Jurgen Klopp thing. This allowed this Edwards to come in as a sporting director. They lost their previous sporting director, whose name escapes me, back in January, so we're looking for somebody else. Edwards has been given the remit to find a new manager. That means they're not after our sporting director or football director, whatever you want to call it, and it probably means that Jurgen Klopp, who loved Jarrod Bowen, is not going to go after Jarrod Bowen. That's not to say Liverpool aren't going to come out after one of West Ham's players. I suspect they possibly might. But what I think it is imperative is that we follow their lead. We allow Tim Steidten to have a serious role in recruiting our next manager. I think that's incredibly important. I really do. Give it a go. We don't half buy into the idea. Let's go for it. Let's go for this, whatever, continental model, whatever it is. We call it the continental model. This is a system that's in place for most Premier League clubs now. It really is. The days of the sort of omnipotent, all-powerful Fergie or Wenger-like manager who control every aspect of the club, they're gone. They're absolutely gone. And even if David Moyes does get offered a new deal, and as I say, I don't want to spend time talking about Moyes if I think I explained my opinion on it, for long enough yesterday. It would have to be with a view that Moyes was only the head coach. And do you know what? Even that, I'm not sure he does enough coaching. I'm really not. In many respects, the one thing you want and demand from a modern day head coach, Moyes doesn't do that stuff. I think he delegates a lot of the training ground stuff. So I think we need a training ground coach. But anyway, but whatever. That's the Moyes stuff is a conversation for other days, not particularly today. Tim Steidten doesn't look like he's going to Liverpool. Keep him at West Ham and let's put our back in behind him. And I think as important as that, let's put our faith in him.